We are back. We are better than ever. What is going on, everyone? Episode 9 of Talkin NFL. This is a show that I created for my channel and for you guys specifically. What's going on, Lionston? How we doing? King Memphis, what is up? Hello, hello, hello. Good to see all of my homies in the house. Good to see you guys in the house. But because it's been so long since I've had this show, I feel like I need to reiterate and reemphasize exactly what the show is. Essentially, I just take topics that are happening in the NFL and then I just voice my opinion on it. To kind of ease back into the flow of the show, we only have 4 topics today. As you can see, I have them right down here. These are the things that we're going to talk about today. And also, we didn't have this feature before. Well, actually, that's a lie. We definitely had this feature before, but it was more so of like a testing thing. I want you guys to be incorporated in the show as well. And I have guests. Oh, shoot. Of course, I say I have guest star enabled, and I don't have it set up like for real. So hold on. Let me bear with me here. Start. Let me get guest star going. Long story short, I want to make this show super interactive. I want you guys to be involved with what's going on in the show. If you have an opinion about what we're talking about, I want you guys to voice your opinion, and I want you to come to the front of the class and we can chop up your opinion and talk about your opinion and so forth. So bear with me just a second here. Where do I need to go? Creator dashboard. Here we go. Bear with me just a second here. I need to get guest star going, and this is just in case someone wants to come on the show and talk about what we talk about. Perfect. All right, I've got the window open. And in the event that someone wants to come on, so here's what I want to do. Here's essentially what I want to do. I want to talk about the show. I want to talk about, whatever the subject matter is. And then once we start to wind down with that subject matter, I want to open it to you guys to join the show via guest star. One misconception that a lot of people have is they think that they have to have a camera. Obviously, it would be nice and it would be cool if you were able to join via camera. But if you would just like to join via audio, that's fine as well. It's kind of like the Twitch in some regard. It's kind of like helping out from a Discord standpoint. Like, you don't necessarily have to get on Discord and come into the Discord voice chat in order to be on the show. So I do like that aspect of it as well. But I'm going to get back to trying to make this a weekly thing. It has been gone for far too long. Again, this is just my opinion. There are some things that I know and there are some things that I don't know, and that's where you guys come into play. I may get things wrong, and that's where you guys help me out, and we go on our fact-finding missions and go from there regarding the subject matter. So, I'm not breaking any news. I'm not, people aren't following my tweet. I'm not Ian Rappaport. I'm not Adam Schefter. I'm just providing some of the football knowledge that I have and providing an opinionated perspective on some things. So, with that being said, I appreciate you guys being here. Lionston, King Memphis, Kid, I know you're working and lurking. Hey, look at Lionston coming in freaking 17 months, bro. 17 months. Let's get some hype in the chat. Let's get some whoopies and neenies in the chat. I appreciate you as always. Enjoy the stream. Enjoy the emotes. Front row seat just for you, my guy. Front row seat just for you. So, let's go ahead and get into it. First topic that we are going to talk about. This is a good one. This is definitely a good one. Jeff Saturday is the Indianapolis Colts interim head coach. There's a couple of different angles that I want to take from this. And guys, all opinions are welcome. I don't want you to feel like you have to hold your tongue. I don't want you to feel like, I along with the perspective that I have, like, I want to have your perspective as well. I want to know why you feel the way that you feel, and I want to I want to develop an understanding of that, right? Because I'll be honest, there are going to be some things, perhaps today even, that some people might not necessarily agree with, kind of thing. And I encourage, and I want you to say why you feel the way that you feel, and we can shed some light on it and go from there. Obviously, the Indianapolis Colts have been having a really, really tough year. They had, I guess you could say they had somewhat of a decent season last year with Frank Reich as their coach and Carson Wentz as their quarterback. However, there was one thing that they had to do last year in order to make it to the playoffs, just based on how the season went. Like I said, they had a decent season last year. The one thing that they had to do, chat, was beat the Jacksonville Jaguars. And I guess historically, the Indianapolis Colts have had difficulty when it comes to beating the Jaguars in Jacksonville. And unfortunately, they did not win that game. They did not make it to the playoffs last year. And Carson Wentz kind of got a lot of the blame for it. I mean, I think it's fair to say that there was blame to go around in that particular year and situation, but just from the optics and from the outside looking in, it really just seemed like Carson Wentz was the scapegoat. And so they shipped him out. They shipped him out to Washington. He's now with the Washington Commanders. I believe he's battling through injury. And so to fill the quarterback void that the Indianapolis Colts had, they went out and they got Matt Ryan. Yeah. I don't know who thought that was a good idea from the perspective of Matt Ryan was going to be an upgrade from Carson Wentz. I mean, let's be honest. I think we've seen the best years of Matt Ryan are truly behind him. I feel like his time has come and gone. What's going on, the Great One? How we doing? And they had a rough start to the season with Matt Ryan. Like, everything just went on the decline, right? Everything just went on the decline from an offensive standpoint. They're rotating, players and putting them in different positions from an O-line standpoint, just trying to make it work. Just couldn't make it work. And shout out to Strades. He is an Indianapolis Colts fan, and he could even tell that there just wasn't really any fight left in Frank, right? There just wasn't any fight left. I have a question. You think he's going to work with Matt Ryan? That is an excellent question. I'll answer that question, but that is a good question. I don't know. I don't know if he's going to work with Matt Ryan, but we'll get to that aspect of the conversation later. As we all saw earlier this week, the Colts did make a move. I want to say it was early Monday morning, or like Monday morning, early afternoon, somewhere in there. They did make the decision to move on from Frank Reich as their head coach. And what's going on, Darkwing? Good to see you. I see you. You got the Bridget emote. Spam them if you got them. Spam them. They did decide to move on from Frank Reich and announced Jeff Saturday as their interim head coach. I just want to say this before I actually get into what I want to talk about with this particular situation. I was fortunate enough back in 2005, my sister was an all-star cheerleader. And anyone that has sisters or children or daughters that are in the competitive space from a cheerleading standpoint, this time of year, you're constantly on the road. Like, you're constantly going from city to city and competing in various competitions. And there was a competition, I want to say in like December of 2005, that my sister had in Indianapolis. And at the time, Lucas Oil Field wasn't there. It wasn't that every Saturday. Yeah, see, I think the RCA Dome was still was still there in Indy. And I think we were staying at the same team hotel as the Colts. And I got an opportunity to meet Jeff Saturday. I got his autograph, but sadly, I honestly couldn't tell you where it is. I don't know what I did with it, but he's a nice guy, right? He's a nice guy. He's a Super Bowl winning center with the Indianapolis Colts. When you think of Jeff Saturday, you automatically think of Peyton Manning. When you think of Peyton Manning, you automatically think of Jeff Saturday. He put in a lot of good years in the NFL, and he's a nice guy, right? Like, there's nothing that you can say bad about Jeff Saturday. Obviously, before accepting this interim head coaching position, he was doing his thing on ESPN, back with my old job. Look at Darkwing being great. Let's get some hype in the chat. Let's get some whoopies and eenies in the chat. Thank you so much for that tier 1 sub. Enjoy the stream, enjoy the emotes, front row seat just for you. I appreciate that. Thank you. What was I saying? Right. So he was doing his thing on ESPN, with my old job. And when I used to commute, they would bring him on. I think they would bring him on like Mondays, to provide some NFL perspective on like some of their morning shows. And, I like the guy. I like the guy. I like the perspective that he had with ESPN. It seems like, it seems like he will be missed. It seems like his work on ESPN will be missed just based on the the analysts that he worked with. They're super excited for him. They're super happy for him in this opportunity in becoming interim head coach. But I think I don't want to say all of you, but I'm sure there's some of you that probably have a good idea as to where I'm going with it, because a lot of analysts and a lot of different people have gone in this direction. And unfortunately, it's a direction that we have to go in. This isn't something that we're just picking and choosing. Like, it's just there hitting us straight in the face. Now, truthfully speaking, I did not know Jeff Saturday to have any coaching experience, right? I was completely ignorant to that. And it seems that he has. It seems that he's done some football coaching, high school football coaching. I believe it was in Georgia. I think that's what Shrades told me. Right, we're going there. So he doesn't. Hold on, let me make sure that I have this right, because I want to make sure that I get this. I want to make sure that I get this right for you guys. Hang on just a second, because Shrades did put me on game when we were when all this was going down and we were talking about it. Or maybe it was Twitter. I think it was Twitter. He put me on game. Bear with me here just a second. Twitter. And we can take our time here. We're not in a rush. Again, I'm open to all perspectives, all opinions on this subject matter. Okay, so Shrades told me Jeff Saturday's been had been head coaching high school football in Georgia. He was on staff when they had Gus Bradley and John Fox prior head coaching experience. Special teams coordinator was highly speculated. So long story short, we don't have to get into like the nitty gritty of all this, but long story short, he does have some type of head coaching experience. Again, love Jeff Saturday, right? I wish him all the best. I think he's great. I love him. I do not like the process in which this was done. Okay? And the great one went exactly where I was going to go with this. Now, for those of you that don't, I think it's fair to say, hey, what's going on, Giro? Giro, I'm glad you're here, because I love your perspectives. I love, the conversations that you like, just the things that you bring to the show. So definitely chime in on this. For those that aren't super familiar with the Rooney Rule, essentially it is a requirement. And it's been in place for a while now. In which you have to interview a minority head coach. Now, let me be clear about this as well. I think a lot of people misinterpret minority as black. That's not always the case. You don't have to interview a black coach. You have to interview someone who is a minority. That could mean Latino, Latina, that could mean Asian, that could mean Dominican, that could mean basically anyone that is not of white descent, right? That is a minority, specifically in this country, right? All right, I'm not trying to step on no toes. At this point, I'm stating facts. That's what the minority is specifically in this country, okay? And so I think it was last year. I want to say it was either in 2020 or 2021 that they extended that Rooney Rule to where that had to apply to assistant coaches and specialist coaches as well. I could be wrong on the specialist aspect of it, but that it didn't just apply to head coaches. There were other positions that the Rooney Rule has now begun to apply to. Right? Learning things today. Love it. Perfect. Love it. I love it when we're all learning. I love it when we all voice our opinion and we all learn from each other. This isn't about being upset. This isn't about whatever. We're just talking, right? We're just having a good old football conversation, right? So here's the thing. The Rooney Rule doesn't seem to yet apply to the interim head coaching job. And that's wild, right? Like, we've seen the Rooney Rule. First of all, the Rooney Rule, sometimes it's practiced the way that it's supposed to be practiced, and sometimes it's just hey, let me get this out the way. I already know who I want. And unfortunately, the percentage of that is a little bit higher than the percentage of what the Rooney Rule was actually supposed to be used for. But again, this doesn't, for whatever reason, apply to the interim head coaching position. And this, honestly speaking, when we think of interim head coaches, we automatically assume that, and in the past, right? In the past, it has been that interim head coaches were coaches that were already on staff, already in the building, already a part of what's been going on for the season, and they're just, hey, you're the interim head coach, because the coach that we had in place wasn't getting the job done for us. So we feel comfortable enough in making you the head coach to finish out the season. Yes, you're auditioning for the job like anyone else would. There's no guarantee that we're going to make you the head coach moving forward. But for right now, we are confident as a organization to make you the head coach for the remainder of the season. Well, this is the first time that we legit, and I'll do respect, but this, I'm just stating the facts here. This is the first time that we saw an interim head coach plucked off the street. Plucked off the street. And my personal opinion, I think that this was not something that came out of the blue, even though it seems like it came out of the blue for us, right? This was not something that came out of the blue. I think that this has been in, what's going on, Lady K? How are you? I think that this has been in the works for a really, really long time. Well, I shouldn't say a really, really long time. If I had to guess, I would say I feel like this has been in the works probably at the least, at the minimum, 2 weeks. All right, conversations were being had, okay? And it's unfortunate that Frank, lost his job, but I don't think that this was anything that he didn't see coming either, right? I think he knew that he was on the chopping block. And let's just be real. I understand. For me, I am a very intuitive person. I know when something doesn't feel right, that something is coming down the pike. So when you're not doing a good job with something and decisions get made, it shouldn't come as a surprise. I'm really, really hoping and believing that this firing of Frank Reich did not come as a surprise, right? There's just no way that this came as a surprise. But unfortunately, this is yet a situation that has to be looked at. The Rooney Rule needs to apply to interim head coaches. And again, I think the biggest misconception when it comes to the Rooney Rule is that we're just saying that this applies to black coaches. No, this does not apply to black coaches only. This applies to minority coaches, coaches who are not of white descent. And another thing that I learned, I was working Monday night when the actual presser of him becoming the interim head coach came about. It almost seemed like Jim Irsay being the owner of the Indianapolis Colts, it almost felt like he was sort of on the defense. It's like he knew some of the questions that were going to come about, and he was just ready to just fire back. And I'm completely paraphrasing, but he did say something to the effect of, you know, I'm glad that he doesn't have any coaching experience. I'm glad that he doesn't know the in and outs. Basically what he said was, I don't care that he doesn't have any coaching experience. I don't care that he doesn't know anything. This is who I want. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I really feel like Jim Irsay kind of gave us the inside look as to how the majority of these NFL owners think. I really do. I think at the end of the day, these owners, when things aren't going the way that they want from a head coaching standpoint, they're just playing the game, man. They are just playing the game of, all right, the Rooney Rule's in place. Let me just go through the motion of this, even though I know who I want. I've been knowing who I want probably since week 5, depending on how bad the team is doing. So let me just play this game of going through the motions and acting like these candidates really have a shot when they don't, because I know who I want. I know who I'm going to hire, but let me just play this patty cake game of the Rooney Rule. I really feel like that statement that he made that's how a lot of these NFL owners think. All right, let me catch up on chat here. They offered, hold on. And I did see that where he was offered a front office position before he retired, when he was still playing with Green Bay. I did see that. I did see that. And it's amazing how literally 10 years later, here he is as the interim head coach. We don't often see this happening though, Lauren. Someone getting the interim position who is not on the team already. Exactly. We don't. This is, as a matter of fact, I feel like this is the first time. I feel like this is the first time. Hey, Bridget's in the house. Hey, got you on the car on my radio entertainment. Let's go. Can I get one of my, shout out to Bridget. I don't know if I have any mods in the house, and that's fine. But I mean, if you don't know who Bridget Case is, what are you doing with your life? Like, come on. She's amazing. So please do me a solid, give her a follow as well as a subscription. She's awesome. And I think she's going to be streaming on Thursday night for Thursday Night Football. So appreciate you, Bridge. Always love the love and support. Appreciate it. All right, let me catch up here. Was Frank Wright that bad for Irsay to feel? Hold on. Oh no, chat's going nuts. Was Frank Wright that bad for Irsay to feel this way? So, if you want, I think, who was it? Help me out here. Who was the lineman that they literally moved from position to position? They literally moved from position to position from an O-line standpoint, and it just wasn't working out. like that is a coaching nightmare. That is like you were literally trying everything and ain't nothing working out, right? Like ain't nothing working out. I don't like the pick either. Irsay does things his way. However, Interim says they are starting the searching process. Saturday not guaranteed the spot, as you said, and I think it's just a resume boost for Saturday. I don't think he will get the head coaching job, but I mean, let's just be hypothetical here, right? Let's be hypothetical here. What if he does? What if he does such a great job and somehow, some way, the Indianapolis Colts, bounce back in some form or fashion, and he becomes Irsay's like, you know what? I'm drunk enough to hire you because I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I love you so much. I appreciate the work that you did for us throughout this season. I want to make you our new head coach. Right? Like what if? Here's what I'll just say. Here's what I'll say about this. And if anyone wants to jump into guest star, I have it set up. I have it ready to go. I'm eager to get a lot of your thoughts outside of chat. I'm eager to get your audio thoughts and video thoughts if you have a webcam. What's going on, Papa James? How we doing? Chat going wild a little bit. They're wilding out, right? They're wilding out. I just think that if this is going to be a continued practice where you're not even going to give your current staff members the light of day in terms of an opportunity to be the interim head coach, then the Rooney Rule should apply if you are going to look at people off the street. But this is what makes it so crazy. When it comes to interim coaches, that's what makes it so wild. There's no time. There is no time. There's no time. Like, you know, I don't know. I don't know. I don't even know how to begin to try and put something like this in place, right? Because when you fire a coach, you've got to have somebody, at least you've got to have somebody ready to step up. I don't know. Maybe make it a requirement to where these things just flat out don't happen. Like, you have to be on the coaching staff. You have to be on the coaching staff. You have to give thought to the minorities that you have on your coaching staff. Like, maybe this, what do we think, guys? Like, is this something that just never needs to happen again because of the fact that the Rooney Rule was just completely circumvented? Like, I'm open to, you know, your thoughts, and I'm open to your opinions on this. I'm just trying to view it from a player's point of view. Yeah, and that aspect plays a role as well, you know, in terms of being a player's coach. I think Frank just ran out of gas. And, you know, I've given so much love and so much praise to Jeff Saturday. I like Frank Reich too. You know, he's a spiritual guy. He's a godly guy. Like, he seems like a cool dude, right? Like, I think, I can't think of his name right off my head. But the guy that was just announced as I don't know if he's the interim offensive coordinator or like they've just flat out named him the offensive coordinator. I don't know how that works. I don't know how that works, but I guess Frank Reich married him and his wife, right? Like, that's cool. You know, I like hearing stories like that. I like, you know, I like hearing stuff like that. But at the end of the day, you know, it's business, chat. It's business. An interim coach doesn't have to look at everything completely. Even as a fresh set of eyes, they have to jump in and grind immediately and have no time to learn the players. I'm saying that, how does a player on the team feel about a new face on the team leading the team mid-season? Well, that's a great question. That's a great question. We'll feature that question as well. That's a good question, girl. I guess we'll know. Let me look at the schedule. We'll find out. We're going to find out immediately, actually, this Sunday when the Colts go to Vegas and play the Raiders. I think we can all agree that the Raiders are not a good football team. This season, chat, this season has been wild. Like, I'm so done trying to figure this season out. You have the Las Vegas Raiders, who got shut out by the New Orleans Saints, and then the New Orleans Saints took a pounding Monday night against the Ravens. Like, I can't figure this season out. I'm done trying to figure it out. For those of you that don't know, I'm a Steelers fan, so, you know, I'm at the point where if we win, we win. If we don't, we don't. You know, it is what it is. We got problems of our own that we will be talking about. I'm not scapegoating it. Don't think I'm not purposely not trying to talk about my Steelers. I got opinions, right? We're just not talking about them today. But in any event, we're going to find out this Sunday. We're going to find out this Sunday when the Colts play the Raiders. Now, there was some speculation, even more speculation, that perhaps good first opponent, the Raiders. I would agree with you on that. I think, what was it? Jeff Saturday tweeted something out like the Raiders are horrible, and like they somehow correlated that. Yep, I'm a boomer. Thank you so much. 23 months though? 23 months. Let's go. Hype in the chat. Whoopies and Nini's in the chat. Thank you so much for that resub, my friend. Enjoy the stream. Enjoy the emotes. Front row seat just for you. They somehow, I don't know. I don't see the connection, but they somehow tried to connect the dots and make it seem as if it is a long time. That's almost 2 years, bro. That's almost 2 years. They somehow wanted to correlate Jeff Saturday knowing that he was going to be the interim head coach because I don't know. Maybe you guys can help me with that. They made it seem like he tweeted that out of the blue, and it was and that's somehow connected to him knowing that he was going to be the interim head coach going into being the coach to I don't know. I don't know. We live in a day and age where it's mad conspiracies, it's mad speculations, everything's got to mean something. That's just, especially in sports, right? Like it's a lot of people's jobs to try and connect the dots, and when they are able to connect the dots, that media outlet can say, hey, we were the first to do it, come subscribe to our newsletter, come, whatever. I don't know. But we're gonna wrap up this subject matter. I want to open the floor to anyone that would like to join guest star that has an opinion about it. If you would like to join guest star and have at least some type of audio, whatever, just type guest star or something. But I wish Jeff Saturday all the best. Like I said, I like him. I think he's great. I think the players will respond to him. I like his football. I like his football IQ. Again, as an analyst, I like the perspective that he brought to ESPN, and all I can do is hope that the players respond to him. But again, my biggest fear through all of this chat is this just becoming a pattern, right? This just becoming a pattern. We just have an influx of coaches who aren't happy with their current coach, and instead of taking a hard look at the staff and as to who could potentially make things a little bit better. Hey, what's going on, Kaz? How we doing? Yes, Cowboys are on the agenda. Instead them just plucking someone off the street. Let's not get confused. Let's not slander Jeff Saturday. Not his fault. Yeah, and I'm not. I don't want there to be this interpretation that I'm slandering Jeff Saturday. Again, like I said, I feel like I've said it in abundance at this point. Like, I think he's a great guy. I hope that the players respond to him. He's been there. He's done that. Like, he's got a Super Bowl ring, the first Super Bowl ring for the Indianapolis Colts, right? Apologies to any Chicago Bears fans out there, but it's not his fault. I would agree. Right. It's not his fault. It's definitely not his fault. So, all right. I looks like I haven't gotten any inquiries for this particular subject matter with guest stars, so we are going to move on. This next subject matter is going to be fun. I want to have some fun with this. Steelers need to hire Frank as the offensive coordinator. Yeah, we after this week we're going to talk about the Steelers because I'm mad, chat. I'm upset. I am upset with my Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm upset with Mike Tomlin. I'm upset with the coaching staff. I'm upset. I'm upset with the offensive coordinator. I'm upset with the defensive coordinator. I'm hella upset with Devin Bush, and don't even freaking get me started. But that's not what we're talking about today. I probably should have put it on the show for today, but we will save it for next week. Next week. All the best to Chase Claypool. Hopefully we actually do something positive with our second round draft pick that we got for him. I know we said that initially we weren't going to trade him, but a second round draft pick isn't necessarily something that's an offer you can't refuse. Okay, that's one of them godfathers. Either your signature or your brains is going to be on this piece of paper. It's one of those. So we So we took this. We took the second round draft pick for Chase Claypool. So, and plus he's closer to home, right? He came from, at least I think he's closer to home. I mean, we drafted him out of Notre Dame, so that's that. All right, we are wrapping up Jeff Saturday. I wish him all the best. I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do on Sunday against the Las Vegas Raiders. I hope the players are able to respond to him, but this needs to be looked at. We can't listen. We can't be circumventing the Rooney Rule. We just cannot be circumventing the Rooney Rule. If this is going to be a one and done thing, let's say that it's a one and done thing. I am just apprehensive and I'm fearful that this is just going to become a habit in which these guys just find who they want, call them interim head coaches, and next thing you know, they're the coach for at least the next 2 years. So let's take a hard look at that. Kirk Cousins! Kirk Cousins. Look at Mom in the house. You know Mama Joyce is mad about our Steelers. Let me get a shout out for Mama Joyce, chat. My mom is in the chat. Love her so much. Mom, we're not talking about the Steelers today. We're going to talk about the Steelers next week. I just had to say what I had to say, but I see that you had to say what you had to say as well. So shout out to Mama Joyce. One of these days I'm going to get her on the show, chat. Would y'all like that? Would y'all like to see Mama Joyce on the show? How fun would that be? We'll get something going. Mama Joyce will be our Steelers. Our Steelers rant section. I like that. I think we're gonna do that. All right. Moving on to Kirk Cousins. Listen, man. Listen. I think many of us had no idea that the Minnesota Vikings were about to embark on currently a 7-1 season. The Vikings are rolling. Without question, they're about to win the division. We will talk about Aaron Rodgers. He's going to be our last subject matter. We will talk about him. But the Vikings are just freaking crushing it right now. They are crushing it right now. 7-1. This Sunday's game, it sucks that they didn't flex this game, and maybe they didn't flex it because of whatever's going on with Josh. All the best, wishing all the best for Josh Allen. I think he's got some type of elbow injury going on. But yeah, I feel like this is going to be a good game. But I think that's going to be entirely contingent upon Josh Allen and whether or not he's actually going to be able to play. Personally, catch the ball or sit down. Yeah, that's my mom's favorite phrase, chat. Catch the ball or sit down. Catch the ball or sit down. She loves that. But in any event, listen. Kirk Cousins is already a meme. They gotta stop putting my man. They gotta stop this. Okay? They gotta stop this. Sing Sweet Nightingale is ballin'. Mom, they don't get our inside jokes. They don't get our inside jokes, but I know what you're saying. I know exactly what you're saying. That's a family joke that we have about Kirk Cousins. I get it. They love their quarterback, but what happened? I feel like they have put Kirk Cousins in this position where he does not have a choice but to win a Super Bowl, not get to the playoffs, not win the division, not win the playoffs, not win the NFC Championship game. Which I do think, chat, we could be looking at a Minnesota Vikings Philadelphia Eagles NFC Championship game, and that's going to be fire. I think that ish is going to be fire. I'm already ready for all of that. But I get it. Okay, and again, I'm not trying to step on any toes. I'm just saying my opinion. I'm happy to hear your opinion, but we live in a culture where people are just fascinated when they see white people act black. Or like hip hop artists. I shouldn't say black, but just basically, like, I don't want to say mocking, or maybe it is mocking. I don't know. Like, I thought this was cute. I thought this was funny, but I feel like they're setting him up to fail, because let this man go out here and lose when it's important. Let this man go out here and lose a playoff game. And I'm telling you, this is going to resurface, and it is going to resurface in a bad way. Okay? Kirk Cousins deserves all the respect in the world. He's balling out right now. I was one of the critics that thought he was washed. I was one of the critics that said they need to move on from Kirk Cousins. Clearly, he is responding in this offense with their new head coach who came from the Sean McVay offense. Clearly, things are working out. Things are clicking. Clearly, Mike Zimmer was the problem and he had to go. But you're right. He was never a bad quarterback. He was just inconsistent. I feel like he was just, I feel like he was just hella inconsistent, right? And again, yeah, he's not a big game player, but you know what? We gotta stop saying. I feel like we need to stop saying that about him. We gotta stop saying that about him, man. Like now that the attention is fully on him with this type of stuff, right? That's not gonna be the excuse anymore. Okay, you on the plane with shirts off, which by the way, he's you know not a bad white boy to look at. Okay, I can say that he's kind of cut. You know, we putting all these iced out chains on him, right? He's gonna have to be consistent with this winning. I just hope that like they're not setting him up to fail, because like I said, like it's cute, it's funny, it's, you know, we're seeing a different vibe, like we're seeing a different Kirk Cousins who's just chill, and you know I get it, but I personally I feel like this is going to, if they don't win out, if the Minnesota Vikings do not win out, I feel like this is going to come back to haunt him. Let me know your thoughts on that. He's jacked. He is a little jacked. I always thought he was out of shape. As you can see, maybe he got in shape this offseason. That's possible. That's very possible that he got in shape. We have many family jokes with these players. We do, Mom. We do. Kirk made himself a meme, and that's what I'm saying. Like, was he peer pressured into doing this? Right? Did he not want to seem like he wasn't down? You know, because that happens too, right? Like, you know, people do be getting peer pressured into doing things that maybe they don't. I don't necessarily say that they don't want to do, but maybe they're just not comfortable doing, right? It's always fun when you're winning. They're having fun, good chemistry. Chemistry matters. I couldn't agree more. I could not agree more. There's no way he's on. Of course not. No, he ain't spending his money on that. No, come on now. He's not spending his money on this. What do you guys think about this? And again, guest star is open for anyone that would like to join. Just type in guest star. I'll send you an invite, and we are more than happy to get your perspective and your insight on all of these. I'm opening all of our subject matters up for guest star if you're interested in joining the show. He borrowed those from Dalvin Cook. That's a lot of ice. I feel like that's like a good 10 pounds worth of ice, because on top of the chain being what it is, then you've got like the plate or whatever, right? Like you've got like the actual, I don't know, the attachment, whatever the heck you want to call it. I think they should appreciate the moment. And I think they are appreciating the moment. I think they're living in the moment, because again, I think a lot of us, including myself, we're just still in that Mike Zimmer mindset. We thought that the Minnesota Vikings in the Mike Zimmer era was going to potentially translate over with this new coach. And as we can see, that's not what's happening at all. Chat, the Vikings are 7-1. The Minnesota Vikings are 7-1. They've only lost one game this season. That's pretty big. That's a really, really big accomplishment, and everybody played a role in that. Obviously, Kirk Cousins plays a huge role in that. He went back and he beat his old team in Washington. I'm sure it was, I know it was salty for a lot of Commanders fans. In fact, there was video of fans as they were leaving the stadium saying sell the team, which I think is going to happen anyway. I whether or not it happens, before the end of the year, I don't know. But now that the Attorney General wants to have conversations with Dan Snyder, I probably should have talked about that this show too. Dan Snyder, this time next year, I highly doubt that Dan Snyder is going to be the owner of the Washington Commanders, but we'll see how that works out too, because there's some pretty heavy hitter names that are interested in purchasing the Commanders. So we'll see if the good old boys club continues. But anyway, the Eagles. Who was their loss? Let's check it out. Let me check it out. I think it was early in the season too. Vikings, they lost to... It's taking my computer a minute to load stuff. Eagles, the great one just said it. They lost to the Eagles. And I think without question, those two teams are going to see each other again. Those two teams are going to see each other absolutely again in the playoffs. I'm speaking it into existence. I'm not knocking on wood. I want it to happen. I want a Minnesota Vikings, Philadelphia Eagles NFC Championship game. I feel like it's only right. I feel like it's only right because, I mean, those are the two teams that have really just been balling out. Those are the two teams that have really been balling out in the NFC, right? So, you know, why not? Why not? But listen, the Minnesota Vikings have a tough challenge ahead of them in the Buffalo Bills. Again, I think the game is in Buffalo. I don't know what the status, however you want to pronounce it. I don't know what the status is going to be of Josh Allen. From what I'm hearing, this elbow injury that he's suffering is actually kind of a big deal. It's kind of a big deal. It's kind of super serious, and we'll see what actually manifests from that. The last time the Bills played the Minnesota Vikings, the Bills won. Looks like it was a preseason game, August 28th, 2019. Who is the Bills' backup? Excellent question. What's going on, Dev? How we doing? The people called me crazy when I said Minnesota was going to win the NFC. I didn't call you crazy. Or did I call you crazy? I don't know. I don't know if I called you crazy or not. But, I mean, listen, have I ever been afraid to admit when I'm wrong? I mean, I hold myself accountable for a lot. And, hey. I kind of mentioned this, Dev, in that, I think we were still in that mindset of the Mike Zimmer era, right? We were still very much in that mindset that this was just going to be a continuation of the Mike Zimmer era, and as we can see, that's not the case, right? David. Oh wait, you said I'm looking up the Vikings, not the Bills. Hold on, let me look up the Bills. The Bills. Let's see who their backup is. Obviously, Trubisky isn't there. He's just kind of sitting on the bench in Pittsburgh. Let's see here, boys. And girls. Case Keenum. Case Keenum is their backup. So, not bad, but not great. Not great, but not bad kind of thing. And I'm sure, at this point, I'm sure they're not looking for him to be spectacular. They're not looking for him to audition for the starting job. We all know that Josh Allen is the franchise quarterback, but just don't minimize mistakes. Don't have any turnovers kind of thing. And the Bills just got what's his face from the Colts, Hines. So, this is a perfect opportunity for them, if need be, and Josh Allen is out, to really, really focus on that run game, right? Like, completely focus on that run game. But we're about to wrap up Kirk here. What's going on, Gray? How we doing? They can't keep putting him in this position, especially if losses come into play, because it's just, he's just going to get a lot of backlash for it. And, again, they're having a great time. They're 7-1. The chemistry's on point. Like, everything is working out the way that most teams want it to work out. They're having a great season. No one is downplaying that. No one is degrading that. The Minnesota Vikings are having a phenomenal season. But I just, we know that this particular style is not Kirk Cousins style. This is not what he does. And I feel like he is being, because things are going so great, they're just peer pressuring him to do these things. And I could be wrong. You know, I could be wrong, but I do feel like he's kind of being pressured into doing these things. And while it's all fun and games right now, you know, it makes for superb content, regardless of what you do. It's excellent content, but is it going to be, it's going to be even more excellent content if they start losing. I'm just going to keep it real. It's not how you start. Very true. It's not how you start. This is the team. Oh, 100%. 100%. This is totally the teammates' doings. But yeah, you know, they've got, you know, again, don't know what the situation is going to be at the quarterback position for the Bills. The Bills lost a tough one this past Sunday to the Jets. And shoot, we got to talk about the Jets, man. We got, I mean, the Jets are, yo, Saleh is really backing his ish up with them receipts, man. He said we was keeping receipts. Hey, them receipts about to surface. Them receipts are about to surface. All right, let's move on to Mr. OBJ. As many of you may have seen, the news came out that Jared Jones has a bit of an interest in OBJ. Interest in that he is basically putting out there, hey, I want you here. I would love for you to be a part of our receiving core. What can we do to make this happen? Like, you know, and I'll be honest with you, I'm very, very surprised that OBJ still hasn't been snatched up, right? Like, you know, it's true that had he not got hurt in the Super Bowl, more than likely he would have gotten MVP because he was balling out, right? Like, he was extremely instrumental in putting the Rams in the position that they were in before he got hurt, and then Cooper Kupp just kind of did the rest, as well as the defense. You know, I don't want to not give anyone on the Rams team their props. They're Super Bowl, you know, defending Super Bowl champs, whatever. But I honestly, I'm just very surprised that he's still not snatched up. I thought that there was a possibility that he would go back to the Giants. You know, I think before the trade deadline, there was speculation. There was speculation with a lot of teams, right? Like the Bills, that was early on. I think the Packers were kind of in the mix, and there were some other teams as well. But Jerry Jones has been very vocal in saying that he would like to have OBJ part of the Dallas Cowboys. Now, let me tell you why I think this is a thing. Okay. I don't know how to say this without just saying this. Jerry Jones ain't getting no younger. Jerry Jones ain't getting no younger. The Eagles are legit flying high. In my opinion, I think the Eagles are going to, at the very least, make it to the NFC Championship game. And I think Jerry's desperate. I think Jerry is desperate. You know, he be crying at training camp. And DM James, I really want you to be involved in this conversation. Like, I am very curious as to what your opinion is on this. It feels like, yeah, it does. It 100% feels like, because how often have you heard Jerry Jones come out and say, I would love it? Jerry Jones knows what he's doing. You know, even though he's old as dirt, okay? He knows what he's doing. He knows that when he says something, people pay attention, people listen, and he knows when people are putting feelers. He's putting a feeler out there, right? For all we know, as we speak, both sides are talking to one another. Both sides are presently talking to one another. And if they want to salvage their season and try to compete with the Philadelphia Eagles, he's got to make a move. He's got to make a move. Desperate times calls for desperate measures. I can hear that. OBJ, CD would be nice though. Oh, 100%. 100%. Hold on. Papa James said something and I feel like I missed it. Jets will fall off the... Let's be honest, besides the injury, OBJ carries some attitude baggage. So, that's an interesting perspective. As a matter of fact, let me go ahead and highlight that. So, attitude baggage. So, what exactly does that mean? Right? Like, because, listen, this is the same... Y'all are the same Dallas Cowboys that say year after 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 year that this is your year. So are you really about to let alleged attitude issues be the deciding factor as to whether or not he's finna be on your team? I like how in sports, if you win, that nice, but if you lose some success, you gotta tear it all down. The delusional confidence in the Cowboys fan base. Having said that, Dallas loves attitude. I mean, they really do, especially when it comes to receivers, right? Especially when it comes to receivers. I mean, obviously the big Keyshawn Johnson, T.O., Dez Bryant. I mean, I don't know if Michael Irvin was an attitude problem. He had a major drug problem, right? Like, he had a major infidelity problem. But outside of that, Michael Irvin balled out for the Dallas Cowboys back in the glory days, back when they were relevant. And yeah, I did want to talk about Dak Prescott too. Like, Dak is very much all in. He was asked if this year is still their year, and he said yes. I like Dak Prescott. I do. And I've said this many times before. Like, I think it sucks that he plays for the Dallas Cowboys, but I like Dak. I'm glad that he got his money. I want Dak to be successful. Really, wherever he goes, right? Do we think that OBJ is going to be a difference maker for the Dallas Cowboys, right? Is it going to open up things for the likes of CeeDee Lamb and perhaps they don't have to rely on their run game so much, right? Like, is that something that we ultimately end up seeing? Then Wade Phillips, Dave Campo, Chan Gailey. The common denominator is Jerry Jones. Yeah. Listen, Jerry Jones, he wants another ring. He wants another ring, and he wants, I think more importantly, he wants to be able to get another ring and say that he did it his way. I think he wants to be able to say, yeah, it took 20 plus years for me to do it my way and for me to get this ring my way. But guess what? My way eventually worked. I eventually got this ring the way that I wanted to do it. Which is why I don't think he's going to get another ring. Which is why I don't think Jerry Jones is going to get another ring. But again, I really, really think that Jerry Jones is desperate. He's not, like I said, when Jerry Jones speaks, a lot of people, especially in the Dallas market, listens. In the national market, what am I talking about? Not just the Dallas market, but the national market. People listen. And Jerry Jones absolutely wants OBJ on the team. In fact, I think Micah Parsons even got involved on Twitter and said, yo, let's run this shit. Like, let's get this done. Like, let's do this, right? And OBJ was like, listen, I want to do this. But things, should things add up, right? If the math ends up mathing out, and we all know what that means, right? If the money is right, if the contractual language is right, then yes, we can make this happen. We can 1,000% make this happen. So, I'll be honest, I miss OBJ. Like, I miss, I never really got too carried away and like the whole attitude thing with him, and we can save this for another topic, but I feel like OBJ wants to win, right? He wants to win. He's got the talent, and I just think that over the years we've just seen energy not be consistent, and I'm sure you guys know where I'm going with this. You know, when Tom Brady gets upset and you know, he lashes out and he's throwing Microsoft tablets, everyone just looks at it from a standpoint of he wants to win, he's a winner. He's frustrated because he's passionate about the game, whereas when it comes to a receiver, he's a problem. He's a problem. He's difficult to work with, and we just can't have that kind of we just can't have that kind of energy in our locker room. And I just think that's complete and utter bullshit. I'm just gonna say it. I need the energy when it comes to being quote unquote passionate about something to be consistent, and we've seen that not be consistent over the years. But I miss him. I miss him. If this Cowboys thing ends up happening, number one, congratulations to Cowboys fans. I don't know if OBJ being on the team is going to be the missing puzzle piece that enables you to somehow, some way surpass the Philadelphia Eagles. I don't. Just because I feel like the Eagles defense is so stinking tough. So stinking tough. I don't know. I don't know. But I think it does make it to where some attention can be given, right? Like Jerry's y'all need that splash. Y'all don't have a splash right now. And OBJ becoming a Dallas Cowboy would absolutely ensure that you have that splash. Actually, OBJ just wants to win, not about pay. Okay. So, I mean, can we expect breaking news later this afternoon? I mean, if it's not about pay, why isn't this done already? I think we're joking if we're saying that this isn't a little bit about pay, right? Like, we're not. I would think that at minimum we're talking at least a 2 to 3 year deal. This isn't. You know, I don't know about that one, Papa James. I haven't either. OBJ is a baller. What good wide receiver isn't a little divish though? Right, exactly. Jerry Rice. Yes, I can see that. I can't even argue that. Monkey. I can see that. I can see that. You can be a diva-ish when you're good. I like it when I look at it like he's not used to losing more than winning. To when this man went 14-12 about as many times. Oh God. We're not doing this, Gray. I know you can't stand Eli Manning. We've got to find a way in which things do not always come back to Eli Manning. You do not like Eli Manning. Hence why I said good wide receiver. OBJ recovering from an ACL tear. Teams are patient on signing him. Yeah, and that's a big deal too. Like ACL. I mean, let's just keep it real. Like, you know, I think there's apprehension. Even though Jerry Jones has expressed that he wants him on the team, I think there is still a tad bit of apprehension, because that's a big deal. Like, ACL recovery is a big deal. And yes, OBJ, he's getting back into shape, but he hasn't been hit. Like, he hasn't played actual football yet, right? Like, it's not like he's, you know, rehabbing with the team and practicing with the team. Like, he has not been hit at all from an NFL standpoint this year. So there's a little bit of apprehension, trepidation, whatever, there as well. Look at my comment about OBJ and Micah. Dallas defense is tough though. All right, I'm coming back. Okay, OBJ. Oh my God, why is this doing this to me? Hang on, I'm trying to go back, but okay, OBJ will be as good as how healthy Dak is. If Dak struggles, it might be a lost season for OBJ. OBJ replied to Micah and said that he just wants to win. I don't know if OBJ feels confidence that he will win. Sorry about that. Yeah, there's that aspect of it too. So, you know, the message within that tweet could have been OBJ saying, listen, I want to win. And to be frank, to be quite frank, I don't know if me winning with you guys is it. You know, the season's halfway done, chat. The season's halfway done. And does it even really make sense for OBJ to play this year? Right? Like, does it even really make sense for him to play this year? Like, what type of... I mean, what exactly... I mean, again, he hasn't played at all this year. He's been recovering. He's been working out. He's been making, you know, Instagram reels of himself working out, tatted to the 9. Like, he looks great, right? He's in impeccable shape. But I don't know what makes sense. No signing has happened because he hasn't been cleared. There's a subliminal message in that cop. No, there was no subliminal. Flacco is elite. Oh God, are we really doing this? Cowboys are winning. Chokes you up. No. If he gets paid a lot and fully recovered to do it, Deion Sanders used to do it. Yeah, but Deion Sanders is arguably one of the best defensive players of all time. Arguably one of the best defensive players that we've seen. And not only that, but, you know, he did his thing in baseball, too. Like, Deion Sanders was just a freak. Like, literally just a freak. Also, how the hell are NFL players back from ACL injury much faster than basketball players? It took Clay over. Well, I think there's different types of ACL injuries, right? Like, and we don't really know exactly what the recovery... Every recovery process is different. Everybody heals different. That's why we're different people. So we can't sit there and say this is the ACL group. This ACL group should heal this way. This is, you know, everybody heals different, and everyone's body's used in a different way too. You know, it is entirely contingent upon that person, what they're doing to recover, what setbacks. You know, I honestly, it's kind of like saying, you know, I mean, I hate to put it in this regard, but that's like saying, how is it that you as a as a black person has blue eyes? Like, there's just no way. Well, genetics be reaching back centuries ago. That's just how genetics work, you know? Like, I don't know. I didn't mean to get that extreme, but I think you get my point, in that everyone heals differently. Everyone's recovery process is different. Yeah. What does clear mean? Clear to play, clear to work out, clear to run, clear to play in a NFL football game. That's what cleared means. Meaning he can go into a locker room, put on an NFL uniform, put on an NFL pads, cleats, the whole 9, and play in a National Football League game. That's what cleared means. Now we're getting a little too granular with cleared. Yes, to play football. But we're going to continue to monitor this, chat. We're going to wrap up here with OBJ. We're going to continue to monitor this here. You know, again, I think, yes, even though the Dallas Cowboys want him, it's, you know, OBJ at this point is clearly wanting to see if this is a situation that makes sense for him. You know, thanks fam, please excuse me. No, not at all. Not at all. We learn here, man. I learn, the chat learns. Don't look at it like in a bad way. Like, there are things that I don't know. There are things that, don't look at it like that. All right, last subject of the show. Aaron Rodgers, chat. Aaron freaking Rodgers. Granddaddy Aaron. So as you can see, I have the question, is he washed? So what is it then? I mean, let's just jump into it. We know what it is, right? The Packers, let me look it up here. They're not good right now. And I don't know when they're gonna get good, chat. I don't know. They play the Dallas. We were just talking about the Dallas Cowboys. The Dallas Cowboys are 6-2. The Green Bay Packers are 3-6. I think they've legit lost their last at least 3 games. They've lost their last 3 games. I don't know what's going on. You know? I don't know. I really don't know what's going on. I don't know if it's Aaron. I don't know if it's play calling. I don't know. What I do know is a lot of the frustration that we see from Aaron, and I don't know, maybe it's because the media just hones in on that and focuses on that, but he's been hella frustrated for weeks. And if you want my pick for that game, I'm picking the Cowboys. I can't even believe I said that, but I feel like I don't have a choice. This isn't the same Green Bay Packers that we've seen in years past. This is the worst that we've ever seen the Green Bay Packers. This is the worst that we've ever seen Aaron Rodgers, to the point where media analysts are saying, hey, let's just go ahead and try and see what we got in Jordan Love. Let's just go ahead and get to the point where Lil Wayne, to which I didn't even know he was a Green Bay Packer fan, chat. Had no idea Weezy was a Packer fan. No clue whatsoever that he was a Packer fan. Even said, we should have been got rid of this guy. Okay? We should have been got rid of this guy before the season. And all the trauma, all the turmoil, all the negative that we're having right now, it's because of him, and that's why we're in this position. Okay? Now, I'm gonna keep it a buck. I really think that the success that Aaron Rodgers has had as an NFL quarterback, specifically with the Green Bay Packers, it went to his head. I really do. That farce of a game that he played, not this season, but this, before last season, with the whole contract talks and him going on this psychedelic tour, being in tune with his mind, body, and soul, whatever. I'm not judging him in that regard, but I was so sick and tired of the Aaron Rodgers. Like, it was literally week after week after week after week that all you heard about during the offseason last year was Aaron Rodgers. Okay? That's all you heard. Wayne, a bandwagon Packers Red Sox fan. I'm just saying, man, the media caught on to that. Red sucks. He's not washed, but he isn't helping himself or his team. Well, at least all the time missed. I would agree with that too, Dev. I really think that the time that he missed with the team, listen, I'm to the point now, I don't care about what Aaron Rodgers' hair looks like. I don't care that he's coming to training camp looking like Nicolas Cage. I don't care about the fact that he got a haircut and he's got a new hairstyle. Yeah. And we're going to highlight that comment from Lady K. He 1,000% got paid and checked out. I think that what really bothers me about Aaron Rodgers is what seems to be, and I, maybe I'm wrong, but when you look at his frustration and you when you just look at his demeanor, I just don't see a lot of accountability. I could be wrong. I just feel like I don't see a lot of accountability. I think the position that the Packers are in right now, they will be lucky if they even get a playoff spot. Like, they literally have to win out. And I'm telling you right now, chat. I'm telling you right now. If they lose to the Dallas Cowboys on Sunday, which they will, they're done. They're done. 50 million a year. I don't feel sorry for him. I don't feel sorry for him either. He just, really had people out here thinking that he was hot shit and that he deserved all this money. And this is when you need to buckle up. This is when you need to buck up, get crap figured out with your team, right? Stop pointing the fingers. I get it. It's frustrating. You want things to go your way, a certain way, but when it doesn't, stop pointing the fingers. Okay? This is the same Aaron Rodgers that missed time to build that rapport and to build that chemistry with his young receivers. And now it's everyone else's fault. Like, to me, it's the same situation with Tom Brady, right? I didn't put Tom Brady off the leash on this. Like, I think it was it might have been the Steelers game, one of the Steelers game that we won against Tampa. I think that weekend, it was the weekend that Robert Kraft got married, and he went to that wedding at the reception and everything. He partied out, and then he met up with the team to go play football on Sunday in Pittsburgh. And I just remember seeing the footage of him just lighting his offensive line up. Like, absolutely lighting his defensive line up. And it's just like, listen, bro, you missed walkthroughs. You missed, you've missed very, very important things that you probably should have been a part of. I get it. You want to be supportive of Robert Kraft. And why Robert Kraft thought it was a great idea to get married during the season is beyond me. I mean, clearly the love that you have for your now wife is there. Why rush? I mean, I'm sure y'all are doing everything that a married couple does without the piece of paper, without the ceremony, without the theatrics. So why was it so important to get married during the season? Right? So Aaron Rodgers is a great player. I don't think he's a great leader, though. His contract is literally handicapping his team from getting him help. Right, and he was frustrated over the fact that they made no moves to get a receiver before the trade deadline. Something in his brain said that they were absolutely going to potentially go after Chase Claypool. That didn't happen. He's and I don't know, maybe he's just telling the Packers, screw you, right? Because he got his money. He was hoping to get some offensive help in the draft. Didn't come. Hoping to get some offensive help in free agency. Didn't come. And hoping to get some offensive help, before the trade deadline. And didn't come. Didn't come. All right, I feel like I missed some stuff here. Look at it like it's not. Look at it. Look, it's not that he's out here throwing to the same wide receiving corps that Brady is throwing to. Like, we not about to be out here acting like he's got all pro wide receivers. He's to blame, but so is LaFleur, since he won't run the damn ball. Yeah, but that's what makes quarterback. It's not I don't know that it's about having great receivers, right? How many years did we watch Tom Brady in New England make receivers that literally were not very good and turn them into studs, right? Danny Amendola coming out of Texas Tech was on the Cowboys freaking practice squad and basically team jumped after that, right? But he magically went to New England and became a stud. I think even won a Super Bowl, right? Julian Edelman, that's what makes quarterbacks, in my opinion. That is part of the recipe and what makes great elite quarterbacks elite. Being able to take whatever talent you have and making them great. Right, he also did have an all-pro tight end as well. I mean, but we're still not going to downgrade the fact that he had receivers that weren't all that great, and he made them into something. We're not about to do that. We're not about to do that. We have to give, even though it tastes like vinegar to me, we have to give Tom Brady credit where credit is due, specifically in his time. Like, obviously he's having his struggles of his own in Tampa, but during his time in New England, and Julian Edelman even said it himself, like, they had really not that great a talent, specifically with the receiving core, and Tom Brady made them something. So I just, I'm not about to sit here and say that there isn't blame to go around for Aaron Rodgers. Aaron has no all-pro wide receiver or tight end. So you're telling me that so basically what we're saying is if he had an all-pro wide receiver or an all-pro tight end, that we'd see this great Aaron Rodgers. Is that what's being said here? I'm just saying you should be able, if you're good at what you do, you're not going to say, well, I don't have this and I don't have that. Like, you're going to find a way to make things happen. You will find a way to make things happen. Okay? So, you know, what's David Carr's excuse? What's David Carr's excuse? He's got Devontae Adams now. Devontae Adams is an all-pro receiver, so are we just going to say that Derek Carr is just trash? Aaron needs to take some responsibility that he hasn't been playing well. And Lady Kate, that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying is that he needs to take some accountability in the downfalls that the Green Bay Packers have been having. That is the only point that I'm trying to make here. We're not about to sit here and say that there is no blame to go with Aaron Rodgers and that he's scot-free and that it's all the receiver's fault. It's Matt LaFleur's fault. Like, you know, last time I checked, it wasn't the receiver's fault when you throw a ball and it's freaking bouncing off of a lineman's head. Like, are we just not gonna talk about that? You know, that's all I'm saying. You know, and I'm gonna be honest too. Like, I really couldn't care less. Like, I'm so over seeing highlights and like clips and screenshots of like Aaron Rodgers being frustrated. Like, they're just not a good football team this year, and that's it. That's it. They're not the team that we need to be talking about right now. The team that we need to be talking about in the NFC are the Philadelphia Eagles, the Minnesota Vikings, the Seattle Seahawks, and I don't really know where you go from there after that, but the Green Bay Packers aren't one of those teams. Period. As a Bears fan, the way the Packers look warms your heart, as it should. As it definitely should. You know, I mean, what's going on, the gaming nerd? I just, you know, dog days are ahead for the Green Bay Packers. You know, dog days are definitely ahead for the Green Bay Packers.